Now, Premier League leaders Arsenal host bottom club Wolves this weekend following a 3-0 win at Club Brugge last night. They remain top of the Champions League, and there was another positive performance from Noni Madueke, who scored twice. This is what his manager Mikel Arteta made of it.
Unbelievable. I mean, when you talk about individual quality and individual action, a magic moment, that's it. You know, a player that is able to pick the ball that far, dribble past people and finish with the quality and the power that he's done. The same as Martinelli as well. I think at this level, you want to win games, you need individual players to step out and to do something different. So very happy because now we have some players back in the front line and you can tell how much better we are with them.
Well, it's been a point that's been made often over the course of the first few months of the season, is that the big difference with Arsenal this season is depth. They can afford to give Bukayo Saka the night off because they've got him behind him.
Yeah, he has done amazing. And I can't express, I'm a big Chelsea fan. When Arsenal bought him at the start of the season, I was flabbergasted. I thought, oh my God, if there was one player I would have sold at Chelsea, it would have been him. I never see him go past anybody, didn't really set the world alight at Stamford Bridge. He's gone there and he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's made me eat my words, but there's always horses for courses. You know, at Chelsea, you turn up at Chelsea, it's slow, you know, it takes time to get, you know, Arsenal, it's bang, 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 get it out to the winger before anybody can double up, and it's quick. And he gets, when he gets one-on-one, I expect him to go past the fullback every time. That's how good he is. But he's not Saka yet, in my opinion. But what a person to have as someone to keep on coming on. As good as anybody, and probably better than Saka at 1v1s. I think if you can get him 1v1, I think he's absolutely outstanding. He done brilliant that night. That was unreal. Then he kept on doing it. And it was going wrong then. But yeah, he's made me eat my words. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. But the way Arsenal play suits his game. They get the ball out to the wingers very, very quickly.
The point is now, and maybe he in his own mind will think, well, one day I can really challenge Bukayo Saka. But it goes back to what I said before, that you can afford to not play Saka. Where there were some games, we'd have watched Champions League matches last season, we thought, what is he still doing out there, Saka, after 70 minutes? But also he can play on the left. He gives you options across that front line, flexibility, and as we've said, Mikel Arteta now isn't just calling on 13, 14 people to try and get through 4 competitions.
Yeah, very much so. And it's clever what Arsenal have done, and they've done it very quietly. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden they go buy him, and all of a sudden we all sit there and go, my God, look at that squad. And they're not like mega superstars. It's not like they've gone out and bought 10, 80 million pound players. They've just bought players here and here and here, and they've got an unbelievable squad. But Arteta can still get it wrong. And he got it wrong horribly on Saturday.
Against Villa?
Horribly wrong. You know,
how?
With Gyökeres. Gyökeres has to play against Aston Villa. You know, I know Mourinho's done well and he scored 2 very important goals. But you've bought this player as the missing link, and they're going to Aston Villa, who are probably the most banging form team, or they are the most banging form team in the country. So you know in that game, they're going to have periods, Villa, where they're going to put Arsenal under severe pressure. So you need that battering ram up front, and that player who's willing to hold the ball up, fight Konza, you know, and get them throw-ons halfway in the other half, just to take the pressure off, especially when your big boys are not playing at the back. He didn't do that. He played Mourinho. How many times did Arsenal break in the first half with pace and they had to turn back because there's no one up front? There wasn't a focal point. It was only in the second half when he went up there, it was a different game. But yeah, that's the problem he's going to have now, is making the right decisions. You know, when to leave Saka out and bring Madueke in.
When we were talking about ego there with Mo Salah, what do you think that does to someone like Gyökeres' ego then, to be left out of a game against one of the better teams in the division?
It won't happen again. It won't happen again. I'd be shocked if it happened again. I think Arteta got blindsided by the goal against Brentford, and I think he scored another big goal the week before. And he's done well for him. But you're not going to win the league with Mourinho up front, even though he's a good player to come in every now and then. But for the big games, and as I keep on saying with the Mo Salah one, when you're a manager, you go to your best players, and you bought that player for them games, for them big games. You know, it's like when we see Vert sitting on the bench when they're playing Man United. That's like Liverpool's big game. You don't pay 115 million and you have him on the bench with Isak or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think Arteta's I think he got it horribly wrong last week. Horribly wrong, but not very rare.
Therefore, that they play Liverpool on the 8th of January, which again is a huge game in the context of their league
There's
season.
a bigger game, and that is next weekend. Not this weekend, because they'll beat Wolves. And if Man City go and win at Palace, by the time Arsenal play again, they could be second in the league. That game is the biggest game of the season, because they're going to be second. They could be second in the league, and we're talking 6-7 points clear not long ago, and they're going to run away with this league. It's a lot different playing when all of a sudden you turn up at the game, you could be second in the league, and you're like, wow, where's that come from? We can't play any better. We've been really good, and we're second in the league. And Man City haven't been amazing.
There's weaknesses there, aren't there?
There's weaknesses, but they keep on getting over the line in certain games, and other games they're dominating. That's the big game for me, is the following weekend.
My point about the Liverpool game was going to be, because I think there's a chance he might be fit enough by then, fully fit. In the biggest of games, does Gyökeres start down the middle, or does Havertz start down the middle in that position?
Good question. Good question, because Havertz is a good player. Very top draw player. Again, horses for courses with them two. I think, when you're playing Wolves at home, if Havertz was fit, I'd play Havertz. I think he's got that guile. They're going to sit 10 behind the ball. He can connect with people. He can drop short. He can flick. He can get the ball in the box, 6'4", something like that. When you're playing Aston Villa and you're playing teams away, when you play Liverpool away and Man City, where they're going to have big parts of possession and put you under pressure, then you play Gyökeres up front, because he holds the ball up and he wins free kicks and he'll win throw-ons. And them throw-ons that fans at home will go, oh, we ain't done anything. All he's done is closed him down. He's kicked it out of play. But them two centre-halves are thinking, oh, my God, thank you. And they get up on the halfway line, they get a breather, and then they can go again. And I think that's priceless. So I think it'll be horses for courses in certain games. Havertz will play, and then Gyökeres will play.
So Jimmy Arteta saying there that they don't have time to train because of the schedule. We touched on this a bit earlier, but could you explain what it's like, the turnaround between when you played a European game away from home during the week?
Yeah, like for instance Liverpool yesterday. Normally you fly back straight away. They chose to stay there, sleep, make sure that the body rests. Then the next day they travel, and then they train, or they just have recovery. Some players who haven't played, they get a little top up, but they can't go that hard. And then they prepare for the match for Saturday. Yeah, you can't do a lot, and majority of the training is video and talking to players and getting treatments and making sure that the body is recovering and put a lot of stuff on, but on the screen.
Dave, in terms of injuries numbers, what do Arsenal's numbers look like when you compare it to the rest of the league?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad compared to the rest of the league. We can show you the total number of injuries and suspensions from this season. The whole of the Premier League here. Leeds right at the top with 29, then come Arsenal on 28. So when you look at the total injuries and suspensions, this includes as well. Arsenal have been hit pretty hard, you would say. But this is a situation that Mikel Arteta had planned for. They strengthened the squad with this in mind. This is what happened last season when they suffered a number of injuries, partly down to partly their title chase obviously suffered because of that. They obviously had red cards as well, which added to suspensions last year. So this is a situation that Arsenal have already prepared for. But yes, when you look at this compared to the rest of the league, Arsenal has suffered more than most.
Jimmy, have you ever had to hold back on training intensity because you're trying to avoid a risk of injury?
Yeah, of course.
How easy or difficult is it to do that, though?
Look, as a manager, coach, you plan in advance. You know the matches that you're playing, so you plan training sessions and day offs in advance. So you go 3 months in advance, at least. And you write already up that day we are training, that day you can go a little bit harder, and you do that with the fitness coach. But then, after you've played matches, you might have to look back at that plan and say, okay, that match was really hard, and they have run X amount of miles in that match, a little bit more than previous, or you have that many injuries. We're going to calm it down in training, and we are doing something lighter, or we are doing a different kind of preparation, or you need to give them a little cuddle, or you need to put them in cotton wool, or it's all about how they feel mentally. Especially when you're going every 3 days matches. It's mentally they need to feel that they are strong and that they can go again. For Liverpool, like if I was Slot, I would use that yesterday. They've kept it very compact. They scored in the final bit of the game. I would use that. That would be one of the things to have in your next speech, by saying, look guys, this is what it was, this you have done, you can do it, and give them numbers, give them stats, give them evidence,
Oh, Dave loves the stats.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm also, you talk about, the X number of miles or distance covered and things like that. Is it also, particularly in today's game, around the number of the high-intensity runs and sprints in a short space of time, which can... And Arsenal have suffered a lot with hamstring issues. Viktor Gyökeres, one who's coming back from this hamstring issues. And are the fitness guys telling you, look, you can't do any training today that involves any high-intensity running. We can do some jogging, we can do some, shadow play, mannequins out, everything, but we need to cut out the sprints because they've done X number.
Well, it will be specific for certain individuals, and I would think for Gyökeres even more so. He comes from Sporting Lisbon. He came quite late in the pre-season. Football is being played totally different in Portugal. The high intensity in Premier League is way higher, So now all of a sudden his body is coming in stress a lot more. You need to look after these kind of players, and you need to bring them. And maybe that's why he's had the injury that he had. We have seen it before. So yeah, you have to look after these individuals.
Do you think injuries is going to be the biggest barrier to Arsenal winning the league?
Yes, you have to have that luck, and he needs to. He knows his players. He knows who needs a little bit of rest, and he knows who he has to put on the bench and who not. Certain players don't want rest. Certain players want to play. Certain players want here and there, okay, yeah, I'm okay with you putting me on the bench. But I've seen in the past many players that say, no.
Yeah.
Keep me going, keep me going. I want to play, I want to train. I want to be involved, So it's that balance.
Absolutely. Club Brugge this evening, but will once again be without key players as Declan Rice, Leandro Trossard and William Saliba all haven't travelled to Belgium. Now, Mikel Arteta has constantly been without key players throughout this season. It was a topic that dominated his news conference yesterday.
Is it fatigue or intensity of training, or why do you think?
No, training no, because we don't have time to train. So training is not there. But obviously the fact that you are missing players, you are loading other players more. That's a consequence to that, and it's a really dangerous circle, that one. And on top of that, we have some injuries that, okay, in terms of what happened in the past, we are not having more injuries. The fact that we had some others that are long-term, that they haven't been with us since the beginning of the season. But as well, it's a test for the team, and so far we have reacted very, very well to that.
OK, right now, let's get on to Bayer Leverkusen and Newcastle vying for a place in the top 8 of the Champions League table. A win for either side would be a huge step towards that goal. Last time out in the Champions League, Leverkusen won 2-0 away at Manchester City, with Newcastle losing at Marseille.
I think any team that goes to Manchester City and wins instantly demands your attention, really. And I think that game underlined their quality and what they can do and how dangerous they can be.
I just heard, like, when I played here with Bremen like 3 years ago, I didn't know how often I touched the ball, but they played such good football. Even last year, I think, with my old club, with Stuttgart, this game's been always really nice to watch.
I've watched them a lot in the Bundesliga, in various competitions, against Dortmund in the Cup recently. Very, very strong team. As I say, very clear identity, very...
English team. I want them to do well. Always had like a soft spot for Newcastle and their fans. Eddie Howe, good manager. They're missing a few players. They're missing Kieran and a few others. Hopefully he can come back. I think, with his experience, especially when you're playing away, you can do with his experience. But yeah, I think if Newcastle wants to achieve something this year, they go to these kind of places and get the 3 points.
And they've got such a massive game this weekend as well, the Weir Tyne derby. Does Eddie Howe have to think about that in his selection tonight? Lots of fans will be excited for this game this weekend. It'll be the talk of the place.
I think, yes, it will be the talk of the place, but this game against Leverkusen is so important. I think you have to go full strength. I think you have to try to win this one. You will find the energy, at the weekend.